Preparation in the yard. After safely coupling the drill to the tractor as per the operating instructions, lift the drill so both land wheels are clear of the ground. The first step in setting up is to remove the seed hopper side of each metering unit, taking care to note which side came from which unit. It is often useful to number both halves of the metering unit to ensure they stay together as a pair. You should now check that the plastic gallery blocks in the metering unit are clean and that the vacuum and pressure air ports are not blocked. A soft brush and/or airline are very useful when cleaning the unit. Also check that the correct singulator arm is fitted and it moves freely on its spring. If the felt seals that line the bottom of the seed hopper protrude more than just a fraction, it should be trimmed with a sharp knife or scalpel. Make sure that the correct agitator is fitted and that it moves freely. Before fitting the seed discs, check that they are correct for the seed type and seed rate you are sowing. This is done by referring to the seed setting guide in the manual. In this example, 0.6 is the correct hole size for natural carrot seed. The seed setting guide will tell you which disc hole size you should be using, the recommended vacuum and pressure settings, and the recommended rotation speed for the disc. In this case, vacuum should be 50 millibars and disc speed no faster than 25 RPM. To decide which gear to use and to check that the seed disc has the correct number of holes, calculate the seed spacing required for your desired planting rate. The formula for this calculation is explained in the operator's manual, or a calculator on the website can be used. Lastly, referring to the seed spacing chart in the manual or the graphic affixed to the top of the driven land wheel, select the gearing required to give you the desired spacing. In this case, gear 1721 will give a seed spacing of 29.3 millimeters, which given the machine layout corresponds to 1.6 million seeds per hectare. Also, note the forward speed to turn the seed disc at the required RPM. In this case, 4.2 kilometers per hour is the recommended maximum forward speed. Going slower than this will not in fact make a significant difference to seed spacing, but it is not recommended to go any faster. To change the gearing, remove the gearbox cover and loosen the sliding sprockets inside. You may need to rotate the land wheel a little so the grub screws on the sliding sprockets are accessible. Now loosen the tensioner arm. Move the chain onto the correct sprockets on the large sprocket cluster and sliding sprockets for the chosen gear ratio. Rotate the land wheel in the direction of travel to ensure the drive chain is properly engaged and all sprockets are aligned. Now tighten the sliding sprocket, chain tensioner and refit the gearbox cover. In some cases, you may need to change the primary drive sprocket from the standard 24-tooth to a 40-tooth sprocket. Full instructions for this can be found inside the operator manual. It should also be noted that where different sowing rates are required from different units, this can be achieved by either using different seed discs in different rows, or by changing the final 15-tooth drive sprocket on the row where there are 3 additional options, one to increase seed spacing and 2 that reduce seed spacing. Make sure that the PTO or hydraulic drive is fitted correctly between the tractor and the drill with the slip clutch fitted to the fan. Then turn on the tractor engine and engage the PTO or hydraulic drive. At this stage, the engine only needs to be idling and vacuum and pressure do not yet need to be set at operating levels. Remove the seed discs from their storage bags and fit them into the units with the part number to the outside. As with the metering unit halves, it is a good idea to number the seed discs to ensure they stay with the same metering units. Check that all seed discs are sealed tightly over the air gallery block by rotating the land wheel. Any escaping air will be signalled by an audible grunt from the seed discs, or sometimes a high-pitched whine. If a seed disc refuses to seal correctly, check it for any signs of damage and replace if necessary. The hopper sides of the metering unit can now be refitted with the seed emptying plugs securely fitted. Now check that all metering units turn freely again and listen for any loss of vacuum from the seed discs. We are now ready for the seed. Initially, all singulators should be set at 16, reading along the top line of the marker point on the calibration wheel. This effectively disengages the singulator, which is not required at this stage of setting up. Now, fill the hoppers with seed using a measuring device to ensure that equal amounts of seed go into each hopper. Turn the land wheel a few times to prime the seed discs with the seed. Check that the seed discs are picking up seed on every hole. If some of the holes in the disc fail to pick up seed, then increase the vacuum and corresponding pressure, but do not exceed the recommended maximum settings. The vacuum is controlled by the fan speed. Pressure is adjusted on the pressure outlet valve. Closing the valve increases pressure. At a typical setting with pressure set up at 20% of vacuum, the valve is usually 1/4 closed. 40 to 60 millibars of vacuum and 8 to 12 millibars of pressure is a typical setting for many small vegetable seeds, including natural carrot and onion. With vacuum and pressure set correctly, every hole should be picking up seed. With very small seeds, it is likely that there will be clusters of seeds on some holes. To set the singulation, first choose a convenient unit where the seed disc is clearly visible and disengage the clutch and all other units. The first step in singulating seed is to wipe all the seeds off the disc. This is done by setting the calibration wheel to a low setting, such as 2. The effect of this is to bring the singulator directly in line with the holes on the seed disc so that it removes all the seed from the face of the disc. Turning the calibration wheel the other way towards a higher seed setting gradually allows seed back onto the disc. The ultimate objective is to adjust the singulator so that a single seed remains on each hole. With poorly graded or irregularly shaped seed, it is likely that 1 or 2 doubles, that is, 2 seeds on a hole, or misses, an empty hole, will occur. Once the singulator has been set, the other units can be adjusted to exactly the same setting. All unit clutches can now be re-engaged. These settings should be checked again while drilling, and it may be that small variations in settings are needed to achieve uniform sowing rates. This is most easily checked via disc eye seed disc monitoring cameras. Lift the toolbar stands to the top of their travel and secure before transporting to the field. For longer road journeys, the row units can also be latched out of work to prevent unwanted movement during transport. Preparation in the field. When arriving at the field, check that the drill is square behind the tractor and lift arms are secured to prevent lateral movement of the drill. With these checks complete, lower the drill into the ground. Ensure that the drill headstock is perpendicular to the ground by adjusting the length of the top link on the tractor. The spirit level measures on the drill headstock are a useful guide when checking this. Now the toolbar height should be set. It is important to set this correctly to ensure the row unit parallel link is in the centre of its 160mm vertical range of travel. Typically, this is 510mm from the bed top to the centre of the toolbar, but can vary a little, dependent on options fitted and unit depth settings. Toolbar height is adjusted by raising and lowering the land wheels and referring to the depth gauge on each wheel. Ensure both wheels are set the same to keep the drill level. When drilling on raised beds, the land wheel can be lowered to a maximum of 300mm below the working height of the row units. Now set the coulter depth by firstly loosening the thumb turn and then rotating the depth adjustment hand wheel. The depth setting is shown via the pointer and is the same on each row. Once adjusted, retighten the thumb turn before continuing work. Lift the drill before drilling starts and check that the coulters are not blocked. This is very important because if the drill is lowered and then the tractor starts to move forward, there is a high likelihood that the seed chutes could be blocked by soil. Now, lowering the drill on the move, set off once more and proceed 5 to 6 meters down the field, then stop and lift the drill once more. Carefully uncover some seeds to check the planting depth. Seeds should always be planted into moisture and ideally covered with a layer of loose, friable earth. Once the planting depth has been set and good soil coverage is being achieved, then drilling can continue. Field operation. When conditions are damp or there is trash in the field, it is good practice to regularly check the soil coverers and wheel scrapers. Other things to monitor are vacuum and pressure readings and seed calibration on the seed discs. Seed spacing and depth should be regularly checked in the field by uncovering rows after the drill to ensure the results are as required. Many settings can be adjusted to obtain the optimum performance, and these checks are critical, particularly in the first few hectares of work, to confirm the correct settings. At the end of the seeding, empty the units of all seed and remove, clean and store the seed discs in a dry place. Ideally, they should be kept in the special plastic bag in which they are delivered, which will protect them from moisture and corrosion. Carefully following the instructions in this video and the operator's manual will help to ensure trouble-free operation and high-quality seeding.